At the outset, I would like to thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity. I know very well that the fetal surgery is not yet developed in India, but as a pediatric surgeons, we need to look at it and try to do something about it. Congenital anomalies are even today fifth common cause for childhood death under the age of 5 years. 97% of these deaths are in the low middle income countries. So when we talk about fetal therapy, it aims to prevent or correct the congenital anomalies in the fetus. If you look at the history, it dates back 60 years ago in 1963 when the first fetal intervention in the form of fetal transfusion was done. Over a period of years and 6 decades, various procedures have been tried and experimented in different countries to deal with different anomalies which can be correctable in the fetal stage. So diagnosis, the main tool is ultrasound and only ultrasound. MRI and other invasive and non-invasive tests are just the adjuncts. As a routine protocol for the obstetric ultrasounds, ultrasound is done at various stages of pregnancy, the most important being 18 to 22 weeks, what we call it as an anomaly scan. As per SHOG guidelines, the basic fetal anomaly, the placental anomaly, anatomy, and the amniotic fluid volume are the criteria to be detected during the anomaly scan. A proper anomaly scan done over 40 to 45 minutes by an expert ultrasonologist does a head-to-toe scanning of the fetus to find out any abnormal anatomy in the fetus. 90% of the lethal anomalies can be detected in first trimester. At the end of second trimester, 65% of the structural abnormalities can be detected. Mostly detected anomalies from the central nervous system, brain and the spine, thoracic and abdominal wall defects, or the cardiac anomalies. Of course, this is operator dependent, and hence false positive detection is also there, which causes more of apprehension and depression in the new parents. So the available data suggests that since it is operator dependent, the training of the ultrasonologist is of utmost importance to start with this. Once the abnormal fetus is diagnosed, depending upon the abnormality detected, we can go ahead with the therapy, whether it is correctable or not. Various types of fetal interventions have been tried and they have become gold standard at certain centers in the world, right from percutaneous therapy for the multiple pregnancies or diagnostic purposes, or interventions for fetoscopic surgeries for diaphragmatic hernia, PU valves, even the large cyst. Shunt placements have been also tried, and most common as the exit procedures which are done for the airway obstructions. So in the centers which have been practicing these fetal therapies, the most common one is meningomyelocele repair, either open or fetoscopic procedures are done with variable results postnatally, though not very promising. Again, in multiple pregnancies, either fetal reduction using RFA or laser techniques, or vascular anastomosis are being targeted using the laser therapy. Endotracheal occlusal technique so far is holding good for certain indications where the pulmonary hypoplasia is avoided. And this is also again done by the fetoscopic procedures, which needs a lot of training and expertise to enter into the trachea and replace the place the balloon, and again at the end of 4 weeks it's removed. So all this is done under general anesthesia for the pregnant woman. So there are strict indications, conditions which interfere with the normal fetal development, and when intervened should allow a postnatal structural and functional development should be gone ahead with for the fetal intervention. Otherwise, if there are multiple anomalies or life-threatening genetic and chromosomal severe disorders, fetal intervention should be withheld. So why do we have to do a fetal surgery? What are the advantages? The in vitro, in utero environment, of course, helps in rapid healing, and even the fetal growth hormone gives a good healing for these babies. Again, there is no external assistance required because the umbilical circulation meets the nutritional as well as the respiratory needs of the babies. And if at all there are any infections, these are combated by the maternal immune factors. Of course, there are challenges Ethical challenges because not all the procedures are regularly performed, the outcomes are variable because of experience is less, maternal risks because of multiple anesthesias, fetal risk because of the premature delivery, hypoxia, and fetal vascular accidents, which are the complications. Today in India, there is a Society of Fetal Medicine which has more than 2,300 members. Most of them are obstetricians or radiologists. Other organizations like FOXY and Fetal Medicine Foundation, ISPAT, are the organizations who deal with this fetal therapies. Procedures which are widely done in India, most of them are diagnostic. When it is coming to therapeutic uses, it is limited to blood transfusions, multiple pregnancy are tackled, shunt placement, cystoscopic fulguration so far has been done only at Amrita Institutes. Still the results are not very promising, and the exit procedures, most of us are doing that. So parental counseling in this area is done mostly exclusively with the obstetricians. Sometimes the pediatric surgeons are approached that too in the last trimester. 80% of the medical termination of pregnancy is after the anomaly scan is done without any proper counseling. So to find out where are we in fetal therapy, we have done a survey. I had released a Google form, and I got only 109 responses, out of which 58% were pediatric surgeons. 43% of the places, they do not have a qualified fetal therapist or the fetal medicine expert who can detect. As I said, ultrasonography is a mainstay. And most common procedures done are still only amniocentesis. The other procedures are very, very limited. Centers are experienced with it and doing it. To know what is the burden of congenital anomalies in our setup, we had done an audit of our center for 2 years. 150 infants were operated. 50% of them had the congenital anomalies. Out of them, only 20% were detected, and 20% of them had never done any scan. They just landed up in their NICU. So we need to triage which ones can be outrightly terminated, the babies which can wait and delivered at full term and undergo postnatal repair, and those which are the critical level, which can do well postnatally, but some intervention can help antenatally, should be detected and accordingly treated. There's a beautiful paper in our JIPS which gives some guidelines for management of the pregnancy, counseling regarding the outcome to the parents, and the risk for future pregnancies having similar anomalies. So there is a need for a fetal board. All of us, all the multi-speciality people should come together and help these parents to take decisions. A fetal medicine expert, obstetrician, radiologist, pediatric surgeon, geneticist, cardiologist, neonatologist, of course a coordinator, ethical committee, financial advisor, and a psychological counselor as well. So why we are not involved so far in this fetal therapy? Is it because of lack of training, initiative, motivation, lack of infrastructure? Is it because we think that there is no demand for this procedure, so we are not getting trained? Is it because there are liberal abortion laws in our country? Or do we think that the India fetuses are not that important or precious? If we talk about infrastructure, most of the centers we have high-end ultrasound machines are available. The laparoscopy is practiced by most of the pediatric surgeons, and we do have these units. Karl Storz does provide with small size 1 to 2 millimeters of fetoscopes, which can be bought. We need to meet the fetal surgeons across the globe and find out how feasible it is to do these procedures or certain procedures in our setups. More workshops can be attended by us as and when possible. We need to understand the uterine model and the fetal models. What are the different anomalies which can be detected and corrected through these different models? We can have a 3D printed models which can allow us to have a hands-on training
Manjari,
to go ahead and find out how the repair can be done. Just 2 slides. I lost time in the slides. So there is urgent need for training in fetal surgery. We can have different offline or online models. We need to conduct workshops collaborating with the different centers in the world which are already into this. We need to maintain a registry of newborn surgeries. Outcome of antenatally detected anomalies need to be published more widely. So if we have embraced, in spite of having multiple challenges, if we have embraced so widely laparoscopic and robotic surgeries, and today in India, I can challenge most of us are doing at par or better than rest of the surgeons in the world. Why can't we put our hands together and start something for the fetuses? Let us get together and save the unborn. Thank you.